sit. We always have Shorty sit before we open the door. It's harder for a dog to stay in a sit stay when the door is open. They're already in the sit stay, so we're always going to do it in a way that is most beneficial to him and building the strongest skills possible. So you saw I had him sit, open the door, stepped in, stepped back. He waited for me to come to him, back to him. He's only going to go through this boundary with me. Okay. You see how he's very careful about coming through? And then I'm going to take a little left turn here to close the door. Anytime you can do that little left turn, and he's such a little dog, it's really easy just to do these little simple little prompts. There's never any rough stuff with him. Sit. You see how I did a left turn, another left turn to point him in the direction where I was going to have him sit, and he's facing the mat with my right hand. He's on my left. With my right hand, I'm going to go to your mat and then down. Even though he's going to go down by himself, you still say down. But see how he waited? It's really important. It's these little details that are the most important, that he wait until you actually pat his chest, that he doesn't jump the gun and just ignore you and anticipate what you're about to do and ignore you. You really have to make him wait and play this little game the right way. So I'm going to reward him. See, I'm just taking this reward between basically my thumb and my index finger and placing it on the mat. Good, and letting go of it and saying good as he takes it. And I did it to the side, hopefully you could see that. But normally you're going to do it right in front of him. Place it there. No, see how he went to touch my hand to try to take it? I stepped back and I said no. See how he's waiting? Good, he may try to go, but he stops himself, and that's good. It means he's thinking, he knows how to play the game. He knows he's not going to get it until he focuses and really respectfully waits, and that's the whole point, that he respectfully wait until you place it on the mat. Good. And then he takes it when you withdraw, and then you'll see it's like about a 2-second wait there. Place it on the mat. Good. And he waits until you withdraw. That's respect. He has to be focused. He has to be in the moment, exerting self-control to do it this way. And that's the whole point of this exercise, is that he stays in a downstay, and a calm downstay throughout the whole 5 minutes or so. I usually do it for 5 minutes. No matter where you go, no matter what noises you make or what you do, because we're going to gradually increase the level of intensity of the distractions. Good. See how he kind of moved his butt? I'm going to want to have him be straight on the mat. So if that happens, I take some reward. See how he kicked himself back? That's good. That's great. He did that. Good. But if he ever starts to get sideways on the mat, you want to lure him to be straight again, like this. You can do this. Kind of lure him. Nope. Make sure that you keep him honest there. He really waits. Good. And of course, when we got him, he was all over the place, wiggling all over the place, couldn't sit still. So you may still have this little issue, but this is how you deal with it. And don't do any more than what I'm doing, which is the basic walk around, downstay, until you have this calmness. He's waiting for the reward, and you have what you see here, and then you can move on to harder things after you see that. Come on. Good, I lured him to be straight again. Okay, so we have that down. So now I'm going to drop the leash, start walking farther away. I'm going to walk past the camera person to the very back of the house. All the way back where you can't see me, and all the way back again. It's okay if he turns around and looks at me, but he's not allowed to turn his body, and so he did that successfully. I come back, reward him the same way. Good. And now I'm going to go somewhere else, back of the house there. So this is going to start to get hard. I'm going to go back there, close the door behind me, knock on the door. So if you're ever going to do something that you think may be difficult for him, it's okay to remind him down, because that's what you want him to keep doing. Going back here, close the door, knock on the door in a very exaggerated way. He stayed there. Always come back, no matter what you do, where you go, come back in front of him, reward the same way. Good. If I reward him out front a little bit farther, he'll bring himself in and straighten himself out. As you can see, the last 2 times he went sideways. When I rewarded him, he corrected himself. So That's okay to do. So this is always hard for him when I sat down on a piece of furniture, did stuff. See how he made a mistake? Nope, that's a mistake. So if he gets up or he moves this far off the mat, you say, no, come on, do a little circle, put him back, and you can just do a little, see, I just did like a little prompt there. Wasn't a correction, didn't cause him pain, he didn't yelp, and then try it again. See, that time he handled it, good, gets a reward. If he ever makes a mistake and then does it the right way the second time, good, you can give him a bigger reward. I gave him 2 pieces, and up to this point, I've been just giving him 1. So when he makes a mistake, and then you do it again, and he does it correctly the second time, you want to reward that, give him a bigger reward so he knows next time, hey, I need to really focus and do this the right way the first time. So I've gone all over, done different things in the house, walked around him. Now we get to the harder stuff. Good, gets a reward for that. Now this is the hard stuff. I'm gonna go outside, leave him alone in here. Of course this is difficult, so I'm gonna remind him down before I do it. Knock on the door and ring the doorbell. Good, okay, that's really tough for a dog to do, you know, so good. So he waited till I withdrew, he got 2 pieces, because that was really hard. If you're gonna do something that's really difficult, it's okay to give him a bigger reward for that as well. So this time, this is usually the hardest thing. Go to the window, knock on the windows. We're gonna do the mail slot, do the doorbell, and the knocking, everything at once. He stays there. Big reward, 3 pieces, because that was a lot of stuff there. Good. Notice every time I come back in, doesn't matter how crazy it got, I come back in to reward him. I slow it all down. I'm slow, calm, deliberate, reward him. I'm not throwing the food down. It's important that you reward him exactly the way you see me doing it here. If you toss the food down, if you're making quick, jerky movements, he won't calm down. He's only going to be as calm as the person doing this exercise with him. He's a very easily overstimulated, good little dog. So when you're handling him, you have to be calm so that he soaks up that calmness. He's going to be a lot easier to handle if everybody's calm like this. That's the only way I got him to the point we got him to. When you're gonna release him, oh, also you can like pull on the leash, do other things like, he just knows he's in a downstay, good, good. There's only one way he would ever leave out of a downstay, and that's when you come back to get him. And you'll see this also works now because he's been doing this for a number of weeks. It'll also work without the mat because we practice this way on the mat from day 1. Now, he can be in a downstay just out in the yard or somewhere else, and he won't get up. He's got a real solid downstay because of using the mat from day 1. So whatever he does on the mat now, whatever you practice, that improves his downstay anywhere. So when you're gonna release him, you stand back next to him, you have the leash, like you're gonna walk him, pat your leg and say, okay. He's gonna hop up, sit. In this case, I'm gonna have him sit, because we're gonna give him a little break out in the yard. Whenever you do something difficult like that for 5 minutes or so, or even less, you want to give him a break because you want to end that little interaction on a success. So you see, I had him sit, I stepped out. This is really important that you accentuate that this is your boundary, not his. And also, if this is see how he got all excited? He's all excited now. So you'd say no. Do your little left circle. Gently but firmly put him back. He pretty much will put himself back because he knows he just lost focus. And if he does this 5 times in a row, you do it 5 times in a row. The dog needs to know that you're committed to this pattern and that you don't move forward until he does it the right way. And he knows how to do it, he just lost focus. So he's waiting for you to come back. He goes through with you, okay. He doesn't pull, see that? On the outside, sit, and then he gets released on the outside, go, and then once he's on free time, you unhook the leash, and I'm gonna keep talking for a second. This boundary training is super important because this is the way that he goes through doorways and curbs and gateways. He's way less likely when somebody leaves the door open or the front gate or whatever it is, the front door, he's way less likely to run out there because he never does it. Because whenever you're going to take him in or out, you do this, it takes you an extra 10 seconds to do it this way, and you're just reaffirming that pattern when I go through here, I only go through next to somebody. I don't pull, I don't rush, and I never chase somebody out. That's why we step out and then step back in, and he waits till we come back in to go with us. So don't ever do that old-fashioned thing where they step out and call the dog to you, because you're teaching the dog to rush after you out the doorway. And also it's bad for your sit-stay because it creates anticipation. Of course, he's going to be waiting in a sit-stay, and also a downstay, by the way. Never call him out of a downstay, because what's the dog doing? They're waiting. They're on pins and needles, like when are they going to call me? So that doesn't make for a calm sit-stay or downstay. So you're never going to call them to you out of a sit-stay or downstay if you want a dog to get calmer. You want to release them in a very calm manner, the way I just showed you, so that when they're on free time, when you release them, every time you do this, they're a little bit calmer every time, so that they're calm 24/7. So it's all about how you do the downstay and sit stay. It's all about how you release them that makes them calmer 24/7. So that's why we do it that way. Sit. I always have them sit before I open the crate door. Yet another boundary. He sits, he waits, and then with my right hand, gets to go in, loves his crate, he goes in. Of course, he goes in, he turns around, he gets a reward. I reach in, take off his little collar. This is a process that happens throughout the day, 5, 6, 7 times a day, however number of times he goes out and goes in again. It comes out, which I'll show you in a second how we bring him out. He goes back in. He's always on a leash. He's in this room, actually. Has a couple of, his crate is usually there. He has a couple of dogs next to him, but they all go in and out. They watch each other get trained here. They go outside in the yard. They go for walks in the street, come back in, go in the crate this way, and it's all the same. He does that the same way every day. We have this little tiny prong collar we've been using on him throughout the videos. You can tell that by the way we're handling the leash that it's not hurting him. It's not supposed to cause pain. He's such a puller. I started using this just about a week ago, because even though I could handle him on a regular collar, and I've done all the training on a regular collar, I know it's going to be way easier for you as beginners to handle him. So it's this little tiny prong collar. When you're going to put it on him, you just make sure that the leash is attached to the funny looking buckle here. This round ring is just a spacer. Make sure you let it hang so it's not twisted. If it's twisted, it's not going to work. It's just going to be a static piece of metal around his neck, which is not good. So make sure it's just hanging like that. Attach the leash to it. Make sure it's not twisted. You're going to reach in and hook him up. I just want to tell you before I do that his routine, like I said, is to come in and out of here all day long, exactly like that. Sit, wait, open door, go in, treat, unhook, maybe one more treat even, and then close the door, because this boundary is sacred, just like the front door, and he waits for permission to go in, he waits for permission to come out. This is his den. Even a little dog like him is, he's a den animal, and he would want to cozy up in something, someplace, haul a log or whatever if he's out in the woods, or dig a hole or something. So you use that to your advantage when you're developing the crate as his favorite place. So when it's meal time, we open the door, put his food bowl in there, he eats in the crate, he gets bones and chewies in the crate, everything good happens in the crate, and that's why he thinks it's just the coolest place ever. And then we're controlling his access in and out. So as you notice, he has to do another calm sit stay in another circumstance where, place he really wants to go, but we're controlling that, and therefore that's just another piece of the puzzle that would make you more important if he has to wait for your permission to go in and out of his little private bedroom. So that's why we do it that way. It's so much better than just letting him run in and out and be crazy, and then you reaching in and biting your hands and all that kind of stuff. You see, he's not doing that. So I'm going to pretend, though, that I'm gone and he's home with you, and maybe he started to do that stuff again that you said he was doing before. If I'm putting this on and I know that he started his crazy mouthing and play biting like he was doing when he came here, then I know that's going to happen. I'm going to start off the whole interaction with me being in control. So the first thing I do before he even starts it, give him a little treat through the door, And then another couple little treats as I open the door, and I'm all ready with the leash, and then he's munching on those, and I put on the collar. And he's not doing that, as you can see. I don't know if you can see, he's licking my hands, which is fine. If he comes out, you say no, and give this little door a little token slam. And he needs to really wait. And when he waits, this is what I always did for weeks. I don't have to do it anymore, but I did it for 3 weeks. Good. When he waits, it's a reward and good. And when he comes out, or tries to come out, no. It's a little token slam like that. And then, good. And then even practicing making it harder, I stand up. And he stays in, good. I'm rewarding that. If he tries to come out, no. Right? That's what you're going to do. And now, stepping back. And he's waiting. Good. So this is another focus and respect exercise. If he's doing this with you, he's respecting your wishes. He knows he's supposed to wait. He's respecting you. And it's another way to keep him focused and calm. He has to be focused to remember the rules and not rush through this boundary until he's allowed. So the way to get him to come out, you pat your leg and say, okay. He comes out, all happy. Of course, another left turn. Close this door, because, of course, if you leave this door open, you squander your greatest power of controlling the boundary, your greatest power concerning the crate, of course. So always keep it closed. It's closed when it's closed when he's in, and it's closed when he's out. So just always do it this way. He's used to that. And then we're ready to go outside again. Okay. Sit. Okay. Sit. Always have him sit at gateways. For me, it's an opportunity to make him better. Anytime I take him through a boundary, I'm going to do this because I don't want to miss an opportunity to develop his focus at a higher level. Plus, we're consistent with every boundary. We have him sit, we open the door, we step out, he waits. This is usually really hard when you're about to go out in public. He knows it's out here and he's really excited, but he knows he's not going to get to go out until he does this the right way. If he keeps popping up, we just do it 5 times in a row until he gives up and does it the right way, and then we move forward. He knows that's the way it works. That's why you see him doing it the first time now. Okay, he walks out with me. And then of course here, because of this gate, I have to do a little left turn. And I don't even know if you've seen me do it, but whenever I do a little left turn like that, it's just a slight little, it's just like that. It's kind of, it's like tapping the brakes, because he doesn't know I'm about to turn. And if I didn't do a little tap like that, he would go forward and I wouldn't be able to turn into him. So it's a tap and turn. It's tap and turn. Okay, just like this, tap and turn. See? It's just something you get used to. And it's there's very little sit, muscle stuff going on. What I'm trying to say is you don't have to use any muscle at all. It's very subtle the way you handle him. He's such a little dog. He's so sensitive. You got that little prong collar on that is all about like power steering on your dog. It makes it so much easier just to control him if you use it the way you see me using it. See, I just did a sit stay at the curb, another boundary. I do this every time I take him out. Every day we do this, and then we cross the street in training mode. Okay. And I'm just going to do these little prompts, and I'm exaggerating my slowness here just to show you what's possible. See, just little, when he wants to rush, just do your little prompts like that. On the other side of the street, I'm going to say sit, and then with my right hand, pat his chest and make sure that he waits. He doesn't mess with your hand, okay? So no. Go. Now he's free. And he could jump or whatever, but you just ignore it. Let's say this starts to happen, he's all excited. Usually he'll just do it for a second, then stop and do this, and then good. I reward that. You see how I ignored the obnoxious behavior? It went away in like 2 seconds. When he sat in front of me and looked up at me, oh, I love him up. A treat, petting, that's definitely the way you want to do it. And maybe even another treat and more pets, because he came with all those, obnoxious habits of jumping and humping and play biting and all that. So in order for those to never come back again, you really need to accentuate the rewards for the appropriate behavior. So you reward the appropriate behavior, and then you ignore the inappropriate behavior. And while we're on this subject, I might as well, so show behind us right there, there's people walking behind us. And because there's distractions on the street, those tend to make him more excited. So in this case, he didn't start being obnoxious again, but he very often would, and he might with you. So let's say that I'm petting him. Maybe I can pet him a little bit rougher and get him excited, and then stop. And well, no, he's not doing that with me. Good, so I'm gonna reward this. So what's happening is this behavior is starting to last longer and longer, so I'm gonna keep the ball rolling. I'm just gonna keep rewarding it. Good, but let's say that he started humping my leg like you saw him do for a second, or being more obnoxious than that. I would say, he's still on free time now, so let's say he's doing that. I would say, I'd ignore it, I wouldn't kick him off, I wouldn't talk to him, I wouldn't correct him, I'd say, come. Good. I take the leash, come is like this. He comes to that, my left hand grabs the leash, I step into him. I'm gonna do a little circle so he's on your side. Sit, and then I call him into training mode, like the first time would be a sit stay. This is your antidote for bad behavior. You don't correct, because the corrections are actually attention for that bad behavior. Whatever attention you give to a behavior that's in progress, you're really giving it attention, you're feeding it. So I call him out of that, call him in the training mode, thinking mode. We had somebody do something loud right there, that's what he was distracted by, but he stayed in the sit stay. And then maybe even a reward. Good. And then I say, go, and he's free. He might start getting obnoxious again. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. That's good, so he didn't. Good. Always reward that. When he seems like he's gonna get excited, and then he sits down and looks up at you like that, you need to reward that, or even better, good, and petting, and rubbing his ears. If you're petting him like this, see how my hands are on either side of his head and he's getting his ear rubbed? He can't really grab your hands even if he wants to play bite. It's not possible. So even just by doing it this way, it's not really, even if he wanted to, he's not able to practice his old habit. He starts getting used to the fact that this is really amazing and this is all he needs. He just would rather have you rub his ears anyway. So it's all the little things like this put together that really add up to solving your issue with him play biting and humping and anything else like that. So now he's gonna start. No, he stopped. Sat down, looked up at me. Good boy. He's looking up at me, aren't you? Good. Okay. So that's the whole process of doing the training. And of course, next time you say, let's say you did it again, you say come and you do a down stay. Come. Good. And then you do down. And if you have to help him, just help him with your foot like that. The stay is solid. Once he's there, he'll stay. Of course, we don't say stay. He knows when you say down, of course, that means to stay. So you don't have to say stay. Just down takes care of the stay as well. And then he gets a reward for that. Good. And he waits until you come back next to him. Okay, sit. And of course, the release. Nope, don't let him touch your hand. Go. Oh, so now he's going to start this. Great. So he's not going to stop. I'm going to say, come. Good. Sit. Keep doing this. Hey, if you have 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever, just do this. Keep going back and forth. Calling him back into training mode. Reward. Free time, go. If he gets crazy and he doesn't stop. See how he stopped though? Good. You don't give that crazy behavior any attention. You give attention to what you want to grow in strength. You ignore the behavior that you want to die out. That means don't correct it. I was about to call him to come to me and have him do a downstay, but I didn't have to because he stopped. So that's your whole sequence of what you're going to do. That's your little routine of calming the crazies out of Shorty. And you end up with this when you're done. Okay, bud, let's go. All right, here we are. Come here, buddy. Come here. Okay. We'll start now. Okay. Actually, we'll start now. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Sit. And if he's distracted, as you saw, there's a cart going right back past us at that moment. You just pull up with just a little bit of tension, as you saw me do, and he'll go right there. He'll go right, his butt will hit the ground. We never repeat a command, ever. So, of course, now until he's off leash, please go past. It's okay, please. Until he's really, really, really well trained, you'd never go off leash, so you're always doing training on leash. So it's okay. And so that's just a sit, stay. You don't say stay, sit when you say sit. And see how he got distracted? He popped up. And I'm going to say no. Do a little circle and gently but firmly put him back. See, it's so easy. It takes very little effort. He's very sensitive. And just reinforce that little sit, stay. Do one more around him like this. And this is really tough for him to do out in public like this with so much going on. He's doing really well. And he's waiting to be released. So, look at this. And people are just like walking past us so slowly, you know, they just want to come over and, you know, love and kiss him all over. Because he's so cute. So here we have a cart coming past. It's okay. Good boy. He's still in the sit stay. Yeah. So he's still in the sit stay. He's doing really well. And so to release him from his sit stay, right hand, pat his chest. Go. He's free. You might get excited and kind of try to, you know, hump your leg or something like that, but you could do this, and then when he stops, then give him attention. Good. I know in the other clip I was showing you to do training, call him to come, or, you know, have him do a sit stay or down stay, but also, if he's going to start doing that, where you release him and he gets all excited and grabs your leg and starts to hump, you saw what I did? A couple of prompts, he stopped. I rewarded the good behavior, which is to sit there and to be calm. And I'm going to keep rewarding it because he's on free time now. He's just hanging out with me. So I think with this particular little fluffy little personality, not all dogs do this, of course. He's gonna, when you release him out of a sit stay or down stay, that's when he might have the crazies and start doing that for a split second or two. You have the choice of either, since he's on free time, I'll do it. Come, calling him to you. Good. And putting him in a sit stay or down stay. This time I'm gonna put him in a down stay. Down. Make sure I reinforce that down there. And carts are gonna come past, everybody's gonna walk past. I think he'll stay there though. So you have the choice of doing that, or you saw me do my couple little signals to him. He stopped, he was calm. I rewarded him, gave him attention. Those are your two options. But in this case, I'll show you that down. What I did was I said down, he didn't go down right away. All I did was I lifted this leash a little bit higher. My left foot went up and I just reinforced that with just a tiny bit of pressure. Most of the time he'll see your foot go up and he'll just drop. He's very distracted because there's so much going on here. He's doing really well though. Once he's there, we don't say stay with the sit or the down. So he knows that once I say down or sit, it means to stay. So you don't have to say stay. I've never used it. He doesn't know what it means. The less talking you do, the calmer the dog's going to be. Less is more. And of course, if I wasn't talking to you right now, I just would have said one word. I would have said down. That would be it. And then practice a little down stay. And then reward him as he stayed there. Good, just like you do if you're down on the mat. It's okay, you can walk past. And then if he pops up before you release him, you're gonna say no. If you're in front of him, you just do this, step on the leash, he'll go back. Or, it's okay, you can walk past, doesn't matter. Or, you know, if he gets up and runs off, you go get him, you do your little circle, put him back here, reinforce that. Continue the exercise until he waits till you come back next to him like this. Pat your leg and say, okay, and then sit. Really important you release him this way. up. You say, okay, he gets up, you have him sit, you release him out of a down stay, you release him out of a calm sit stay. So it's okay, he stands up, you say sit, and you release him like this. No. Is he licking my hand now? No. 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 Make sure he waits. Now he's waiting. Go. I pat his little chest and he goes. And I'm just doing this so he didn't jump on that passerby. It's really important that you release him out of a downstay like that, because what he'll do, if you release him straight out of a downstay, he'll anticipate he's about to be released and he'll jump up and run around and get all crazy. Releasing him from a sit stay in the way I showed you just now makes for a calmer release, and he'll be a little bit calmer if you release him that way, and that's our whole goal with him. Okay. Here we are with Shorty. I just want to break down the whole step-by-step process of how I practice calling him to come to me. I have my left hand through the leash, and actually when I'm walking him outside on a leash in public, I just keep my left hand through this loop, and that way, no matter what happens, there's no way I can loose him. And you can always just grab like this. If you start wrapping it up like this or choking up, you're going to have a tight leash, and a tight leash is your enemy, because tension on the leash will create stress and bad behavior, overstimulation. So you don't want any tension. You see throughout the videos, there's never tension on the leash, so you always want to keep it loose. And we communicate with little signals instead, and body language, either stepping into him or backing away. In this case, we're going to back away, because when you back away and you call him to come and you back away, it makes him run to you like a shot. You want him to always come that way, like boom, like racing back to you, not kind of like a half-hearted coming to you, and that's not a good recall. So I'll show you how to get a really good recall. Left hand leash, right hand reward, and make this target. It's a fist, because when you don't have a reward, you don't have food on you, he's always going to come to this target. And already I could call him to me 10 times in a row. He'd come to this empty hand every time. But you have to use treats for a while, at least 2 or 3 weeks, just like I did, then start to phase the food out just like I did. But in an emergency, no leash, no reward, just pretend like you have it. Use this target, not a half open hand or anything like that, a claw. It's a target like a fist. He'll come to that, and then just love him up and make sure that you grab him every time he comes to you. So he's getting so bored with all my talking, he's settled in. So I'm going to create a distraction by tossing a piece of food. Go get that, and calling him away from it. Look, silly. He knows what I'm going to do, so let's see if he'll go over there and look, go get this food. Go get it. Come. Good. Okay. So you've seen me call him to come to me at a couple different places throughout the different videos, but now I'll just show you, step by step. So I called him away. I backed away. He came to this target like this. Good. I grabbed the leash like that, so I had him, and then you could just step into him, walk him away, or you could, of course, step into him like you've seen in the other clips and sit, whichever one you want to do. Go. So the point is, left hand leash, right hand reward. Never ever repeat any command. We have the leash, so the leash is a way to gently but firmly reinforce any command. With the COME command, it's if he were to ignore you, it's just, you're just doing this basically. So it's good, and he would come to you. So let's say you said the command and he didn't respond. Don't ever repeat it, because as soon as you say it twice, you're diluting the power of the command. We always practice in the way that we want it to go in real life. So we want him to come the first time, every time. So it would be come, and then he ignores it. So you do that. Good. That's all he knows. He heard it once. He ended up coming to us. Something good happened. That's why he comes 9 times out of 10 now, anytime, and he runs to you when you call him. So, and if he gets excited, you can just do a little tap like that, or put him in a sit stay or down stay, but that's in other clips as well. But always practice on a leash when you're practicing. That way, in an emergency, you'll have it when he's off leash. So whenever you're practicing, obviously with any of the training, be set up for success. Have your pouch with your rewards, your leash. Even if you're just practicing 3 minutes a day, make sure you're set up to have a success every time. If you do that every day, it's just going to get better and better. Okay. Sit. We're always walking Shorty up to the person that we're introducing him to, stepping away from him, giving the person a little treat to offer to him. He waits till I come back next to him. With my right hand, I'm going to release him, make sure he really waits until you pat his chest. Go. Come. Call him to come to you. Good. See how I backed away? And my left hand grabbed the leash at the same moment that he took the treat out in my right hand. Sit. I stepped into him, have him sit. Step away. Another treat. The person gives him the treat, and then you can pet him with your left hand, because you have the treat in your right. So he waits till I come back. Nope. Make sure he doesn't touch your hand. Go. Good. He gets petted. Come. Call him back to come. Good. I also, this second time, I just drew the leash through I had the treat like this, and I just went like this, and I drew the leash through that hand. He came to it, and then I already had the leash, so I could just stand up. So you can either sit, grab the leash with your left hand like I did the first time, or run it through your hand. You saw exactly how I did it, the second time, so it's up to you, whichever works best for you. Treat. And then if you want to make this exercise a little bit harder for him, do a little sit-stay first. Whenever you're introducing him to a new person, or maybe somebody just came home from work and he hasn't seen them all day and he's really excited, it's a great exercise to do because it really strengthens his powers of concentration. He has to be calm in order to go say hello to the person. If it's somebody he knows already, after a while you don't have to do the treat, but the treat does help because the whole point is if everything good is down on his level, a treat and the hands and everything, there's no reason to jump. And you see the respect that it develops for him going to be introduced to a new person. And then you call him right back to come to you. You're totally in control of this whole little routine here. You're orchestrating everything. So it's just a great exercise to do for just another way to work on his calmness when he's going to meet a new person or excited to meet a person. Go. Come. Good. And it's just another great way to practice your recall as well. Sit.